Forrest Gump was not a smart man. People always told him he had a low IQ. But Forrest knew one thing for sure. His mother always said he was no different from anyone else. Forrest lived in a big, old house in Greenbow, Alabama, with his mother. She rented rooms to travelers to make money. Forrest's legs were not strong when he was a little boy. The doctor made special metal braces for his legs so he could walk. But with the braces on, walking was slow and difficult. Other children sometimes laughed at him. One day, some boys chased him. They threw rocks and shouted bad names. Forrest was scared. He tried to run away, but his braces made it hard. His best friend, a young girl named Jenny Curran, shouted to him, "Run, Forrest! Run!" Forrest tried. He stumbled. But then, something amazing happened. He started to run faster. The metal braces on his legs began to break. Pieces of metal flew off. Forrest couldn't believe it. He was running. He was running very, very fast. The boys who chased him were left far behind, their mouths open in surprise. From that day on, Forrest could run like the wind. This ability to run changed his life. When Forrest grew up, he went to college. He went there because he was a very good football player. He could run so fast that the college wanted him on their team. He was not a good student, but he played football well. He just ran straight when the coach told him to. At college, he saw many people protesting against the war in Vietnam. He did not understand the politics. He just listened and watched. One day, he met Jenny again. She was with a group of students who were against the war. They were happy to see each other. Jenny was different now. She had long hair and wore different clothes. But to Forrest, she was still his Jenny, the girl he loved since the first day he saw her. After college, Forrest decided to join the army. He thought it would be a good thing to do. In the army, people told him exactly what to do. He liked that. He didn't have to think too much. He just followed orders. In the army, he met a new friend named Bubba. Bubba was from Alabama, too. Bubba's family was in the shrimp business. Bubba talked about shrimp all the time. He dreamed of starting his own shrimp boat after the war. He and Forrest became best friends. They promised that after the war, they would be partners in the shrimp business. Then, the army sent them to Vietnam. Vietnam was a hot, wet, and dangerous place. Forrest did not like it. His unit had to walk through thick forests and rice fields. His lieutenant was a man named Dan Taylor. Lieutenant Dan came from a family where many men had died in wars. He believed it was his destiny to die in battle, too. One day, while they were walking, it started to rain. Then, the rain stopped, but the enemy started shooting. It was an ambush. Everyone was running and shooting. It was chaos. Forrest remembered his orders. He ran to a safe place. But then he realized his friend Bubba was not with him. He also could not find Lieutenant Dan. Forrest did a brave thing. He ran back into the dangerous forest to find his friends. He found many wounded soldiers and carried them out to safety. He ran back again and again. Finally, he found Bubba. Bubba was badly hurt. Forrest picked him up and ran. But it was too late. Bubba died in Forrest's arms. He told Forrest he wanted to go home. Then Forrest found Lieutenant Dan. He was also badly wounded. Enemy soldiers were coming. Forrest picked up Lieutenant Dan and carried him away from the fighting. He saved Lieutenant Dan's life. But Lieutenant Dan lost both his legs. He was very angry with Forrest. He said he was meant to die with honor on the battlefield. But Forrest took that away from him. Forrest received a medal for his bravery. He went to Washington, D.C., for a ceremony. At a big anti-war protest in the city, he saw Jenny again. She was with a group of people who did not like the government. Her boyfriend was not a nice man. Forrest did not like how he treated Jenny. He tried to protect her. But Jenny told him he didn't understand the world. She left with her friends, and Forrest was alone again. Forrest had another idea. He decided to keep his promise to Bubba. He used the money he saved and bought a shrimp boat. He called the boat Jenny. He did not know much about catching shrimp. At first, he caught nothing. Old shoes and trash, but no shrimp. One day, a man came to the dock. It was Lieutenant Dan. He was in a wheelchair. He was angry and drunk. He asked Forrest if he had found Jesus yet. But Lieutenant Dan came to be Forrest's first mate on the shrimp boat. They became partners. They still did not catch many shrimp. Lieutenant Dan said it was because they needed a storm. He was a sailor, and he knew the sea. He said a big storm would blow all the shrimp into their nets. One day, a huge hurricane came. All the other boats went to the harbor to be safe. But Lieutenant Dan told Forrest to take the boat out into the storm. He was not afraid. He shouted at the sky, "Is that all you've got?" It was a crazy and dangerous night. But they survived. After the storm, something amazing happened. Their boat was the only shrimp boat that was not destroyed. Now, there was no competition. They went out to sea and found lots and lots of shrimp. They caught more shrimp than anyone. Their business became very successful. They called the company Bubba Gump Shrimp. They made a lot of money. Lieutenant Dan was no longer angry. He had found peace. He thanked Forrest for saving him that day in Vietnam. One day, Forrest got a letter. His mother was sick. He went home to Greenbow immediately. He sat with his mother. Before she died, she told him, "Death is just a part of life. It's something we're all destined to do." She also said, "You have to do the best with what God gave you." Forrest was very sad. Now, Forrest was a rich man. He did not need to work. He gave half of his money to Bubba's family. He let someone else run the shrimp company. He stayed in his big house in Greenbow. He felt alone. Then, one day, Jenny came back. She came to live with him. It was the happiest time of Forrest's life. They spent all their time together. They talked and walked. One day, Forrest asked Jenny to marry him. But Jenny said no. She was sad and told him she was not a good person for him. The next morning, Jenny was gone. She had left early, without saying goodbye. Forrest was heartbroken. He did not know where she went. He felt a deep sadness inside. He did not know what to do. So, he started to run. He ran to the end of his street. Then he ran to the end of his town. Then he just kept running. He ran across Alabama. He ran across the whole country. He ran from one coast to the other. He ran for 3 years. People saw him running. They thought he was running for a reason. They asked him, "Are you running for world peace? Are you running for the homeless? Are you running for women's rights?" Forrest just said, "I just felt like running." He became famous. Many people started to run with him. They followed him everywhere. One day, in the middle of the desert, he suddenly stopped. He turned around and said, "I'm tired. I think I'll go home now." And he just walked back to Alabama. The people who followed him were confused. They didn't know what to do. When he returned home, he found a letter from Jenny. She asked him to come see her. He was very nervous. He went to her apartment in a different city. When Jenny opened the door, Forrest saw a little boy. Jenny said, "Forrest, this is your son. His name is Forrest, too." Forrest was afraid. He was scared that his son was like him. He asked softly, "Is he smart?" Jenny smiled and said, "He is one of the smartest kids in his class." Forrest was relieved and happy. He had a family. Jenny told him she was very sick. The doctors didn't know what was wrong, but it was a virus. There was no cure. She asked Forrest if he would marry her. Forrest said yes. They had a small wedding at the house in Greenbow. Their friends came. Lieutenant Dan was there. He had new, metal legs. He was happy and, with a nice woman. Forrest, Jenny, and little Forrest lived together for a short time. It was a happy time. Then, Jenny's sickness became worse. Soon, she died. Forrest was very sad. He buried Jenny under a tree near their house. He often visited her grave and talked to her. Now, Forrest was a father. He took his son to the school bus on his first day of school, just like his own mother had done for him. He sat next to his son on the bench and waited for the bus. As the bus came, Forrest put his arm around his son. He told him he loved him. Little Forrest got on the bus and found a seat. He waved to his father from the window. Forrest sat on the bench and watched the bus drive away. A white feather fell from the sky and landed near his feet. He picked it up and put it in his son's storybook. He then sat quietly, waiting for his son to come home. Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. But Forrest Gump, the man who was not smart, had lived a full and amazing life. He was a football star, a war hero, a successful businessman, and a father. And through it all, he never forgot the importance of love, friendship, and keeping a promise.